Rainy, gray but lovely, rainy, romantic winter that we're having.
That was some description.
I know. It is romantic though.
Is it really?
It's good for music. You're spinning records or.
I think romance comes when it's you have to have somebody else to be romantic, right?
No.
If you just on your own, it's hard to have romance.
No, life is romantic.
So I look in the mirror with some
everything. Look at flowers, paintings, people, plants, music, good food.
By the way, you are on the Xtemporize podcast. I think, what are we, episode 10 or something? I'm with the lovely Raine Jordan. I'm
hey,
happy
y'all.
to see you. Yes, it's been a little while. And
Happy Saturday.
Yeah, and right across from us.
Saturday night.
I'm going to, you know what?
We have a guest.
I like this. We have a guest.
We do.
We don't just have a regular
No,
guest.
we don't. We never have a regular guest.
Completely irregular, okay?
Yeah.
I love him.
But he's very irregular.
We're new friends, but man, Mike Mendoza.
Woo-hoo.
What's happening, brother? How you
Hello,
doing?
how's it going, guys?
Fantastic.
And gals.
And gals,
Yes.
And we have Douglas. He's off in the background, and he's always good for a laugh or two.
Douglas is like I don't know, he is the anchor here.
He does everything,
Yeah.
you know? But Mike, man, I really appreciate you. We're new friends,
Yeah.
okay? And
cheers to new friends.
New
Seriously,
friends,
that
yes.
is
Cheers,
so
new friends.
cool.
okay, if you notice, he's got tea, she's got tea, and I've got alcohol. And
Alcohol.
I don't even drink that much.
You know,
but,
whatever gets you through the
if the
night.
Lagunitas company is paying attention, we want a sponsorship. This picture, it's rainy, it's cloudy, it's cold and shit outside. And you didn't come from next door. Where did you come
No,
from?
came from San Jose, California.
Ooh.
About an hour away.
Beautiful San
In
Jose.
the elements, though.
I know.
That's some.
I know. And in the dark.
Yeah,
No
Yeah,
less.
no worries.
Yeah.
It's like a gig, you know, when you go
Mhm.
off to gigs, a lot of times when I go off to gigs, it's like all I have is an address and my GPS.
Yes.
And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
days like this. And sometimes there's one time I played out in Sacramento to going to it was a relatively new venue for the band that I was playing with. And it was raining cats and dogs. It was raining so hard you could not see the signs on the highways, like with exits and this.
Yeah.
So I'm just like at that point going off instinct. So I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Dude, I drive a 65 Ford Thunderbird.
Oh my gosh. Do you have
No, I
windshield
have no-
blades on there?
Do I have
Wipers.
Yes, I have wipers out there. I'm not rubbing a potato on the front of the shit or using my hand. I got a rag out here going like this.
I
Yes,
didn't know if they had
but my
wipers
window is
back.
stuck down, by the way. But this whole GPS
One is
thing, I
stuck
don't
down.
have that luxury.
Okay.
I'm like the old school dude
One works.
who has to, when I'm driving that car, who has to then write the directions down and you're staring at the piece of paper, or you have the
I've done
map,
that.
and wherever you're going
Oh,
is
yeah,
in the
remember
crack
the
of the
map?
map.
God,
Yeah.
We're old enough to remember the map when
But
there was no
the
GPS.
whole point of this is you came from a long way.
Mhm.
And I appreciate you coming. You are a wonderful addition. And by the way, I know you haven't been feeling all that well. You feeling better?
A lot better than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the story, you know, I went to NAMM for the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I spent a few days at NAMM trying out horns. And I was pretty good as I was, you know, right before COVID. Last time I went to NAMM was last time it was in January back in 2020. This was when COVID was just breaking out everywhere. So back then I'd try a horn, you know, sanitize my hands, try another horn. So luckily I walked away without catching anything back then. Not so lucky this time. I did
That's
the same
where
thing.
you got. That's
yeah,
where
so
you
it's
got.
either that or
it.
Disneyland. And we also
Yeah.
went to Disneyland,
Oh.
my family, and so there. But what I did see, tons of sick people
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But
At Disneyland?
at
Yeah.
Disneyland and NAMM a little bit as well.
Because everybody's coughing?
Yeah, everyone's
How can you tell
coughing,
somebody's sick?
sneezing. You know.
Nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
First question, if you don't mind, I'm jumping in.
Well,
how did you guys meet?
You can start from
Yeah,
your
Mike, how did
perspective.
you meet Peter?
So I actually came across Peter's posts with the Backyard Improv online, and I was seeing these sessions come up. And I saw, you know, a new fellow musician I play with, Chris Beveridge, who
Right.
was on a video. And I know him, and I knew a few of the other players that were on the sessions. So I reached out to you first and just say, hey, you know, just want some info on it. And Peter filled me in on the info. And he said, come check it out, you know, just you know, so that we could feel it out and see if you like it. And then after that, I talked to Chris, and you know, Chris filled me in with some info about it. I went to that first Backyard session. I was your birthday.
Yeah.
It was your birthday,
Yeah.
July.
Yeah,
I remember your little heads on the cupcakes.
That was so fun.
That was awesome.
I didn't
Okay.
come to that one.
So,
Yeah.
you didn't go to that one because it's not that long that I've known.
Yeah,
Raine
we are.
either.
Well,
So
we're new
we have
friends too.
a
Yeah.
blossoming
Definitely.
relationship as well.
Yeah.
But
I think we met in September. I think
okay,
that was the
so
issue
in
that I
July
picked
he
in.
came. This is the concert he's talking about.
Yeah.
We had a birthday concert. It was across the street at one of the hosts. You know, we have many house hosts that are members of the Backyard Improv family. And it's directly across the street here, and they have a beautiful backyard with a nice deck and stuff like that. It was 102 or 3 degrees, and everybody came out. But Linda, who's normally the gal with the tip box that goes around and collects the tips, you know, so I could try to not go backwards too much. She took the trouble because it was my birthday, and it was Vince's, who owns that house.
Okay.
It was his birthday as well. I mean, like the day before or whatever. And she took pictures. What he's talking about is she blew up these pictures, these little small pictures of each of our heads.
What do you mean each of our heads?
Well, myself and the other birthday
Oh,
boy,
the birthday.
Vince,
Okay.
they got a couple shots of each of us, and they made many. And they sat there. She painstakingly cut out these little heads,
like
put them on
like
toothpicks, and put them
like
in,
tons of them. Like
on every cupcake
They
had a
had
picture.
different heads.
Oh,
you know,
so
multiple
you
Peter
could-
heads. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, like different shots of his
different
head?
shots, yeah.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah,
That's Linda?
that's Linda.
Shout out to Linda.
Yeah, shout out to Linda.
Yeah,
She
that's
came
some
up
cool
with
stuff.
That was awesome.
We have a wonderful, staff. You
Oh my
have
God.
Douglas and everyone. I am so grateful to have
Yeah, that's so
the
cool.
people. I mean, look, I got like Mike. I'm so glad that you decided to come to that thing because let me tell you something.
Oh my goodness. What about his first show?
Oh,
that surprise show.
Well, right.
Yeah.
That's his own show.
Yeah.
The
Well, it's his
surprise
first show. Yeah, his only show, right?
Yeah,
But it's not
it's
his
his
only
only
show. Because
That's where we went to
he'll be
Claudia's
playing
house.
again.
Yeah, that's right.
I got to tell you, dude. You know, how do I say this? We're very popular in an unpopular type way. I'm trying to be purposefully underground a little bit so somebody doesn't come to me and say, you know, how long have you been doing
Where's your business license?
Yeah, right, all that kind of shit. So it's like I want popularity, but in a very controlled where nobody knows about it kind of
Underground,
manner, right?
keep
Keep it underground, right? So
That's
if you
right.
come, then okay, it's not that we're all that, but you have to be invited and stuff. But
You are all that.
see, that's why we get along fine.
Come on
But
now.
I tell
I
you,
like
one
when
of the
talk
coolest
yourself
things
down.
was so we were at the show that you came to, and you and I had talked before. For anybody who hadn't seen it, and then after we talk and after we post this thing, then I'll post this supporting video evidence.
Yeah.
Right? But we arranged something where you were going to come out. You were just going to be. Nobody knew who you were in the sense that you were just an audience member, if you will, right? And then so we had it. Raine, which you experienced there, I said, okay, Mike, here's what it is. Go off in one of Claudia's bedrooms, right?
Oh, really?
And fortunately, she had like a second floor, right?
Second floor with a window that I could see out towards the stage area.
Right. It was like being grilled in the police department. You have a one-way mirror and shit because
security.
we had Farida Nelson, who's a great bass player. She's part of the Backyard family, and her husband Tim and Kid Funk. I don't know if you know Kid. He was in the front seat right next to us. So we have a couple bass players and stuff, and they're sitting there, and they had no idea what was going to transpire. And Frida's a multi-instrumentalist, and it was so cool in this video when I play it. I don't know if you've seen it or paid attention to that aspect of it, but so we had the trio of Ryan Price, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Chris Ruiz on drums and Jason Stewart on guitar. And there you were now off in the distance. Nobody knows where you went. Nobody's paying attention, right? But then the people in the front row, Kid and Farida, all of a sudden started hearing this faint horn play.
Right in their head.
And they were looking
popping
around. And they're like, what am I hearing that? Right. And then I know I never talked to Farida, but I know what she was thinking. Did Ryan Price get that shit out of his guitar? Because he does amazing out of his bass. He does amazing stuff on that bass.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's him pulling out a sax sound on his. I mean, who knows with him? No, but then you increased it. Man, you had such a cool entry, right?
I know.
Coming down the stairs.
It's such a cool, was such a well executed surprise.
That was a big surprise, a lot of fun, and while I was up there, all I was thinking was, okay, well, one, what am I going to play? So, and how's this going to start? Because again, that's one thing I love about the Backyard Improv is it's complete spontaneity. Everything's made up. The musicians just make it up on the fly. All directed by Peter.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, okay, am I going to start it? Are they going to start it? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then I think you called out smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Right? And so the band started. So it's okay. I'm going to let them cook for a little bit, let them get going. And then, like, maybe a minute or two into it, I'll start to ease my way into it.
Nice strategy.
So that was my thought. I was trying to create something nice, smooth, mellow. As I walked down the stairs, didn't want to fall down the stairs.
Right.
While you're playing your
some
saxophone.
interest.
Yeah, so.
So cool.
Yeah.
And that many people hearing you and seeing you, I mean, you're bound to get return calls over and over again because you do have a really incredible sweet sound on your saxophone.
Thank you.
And that brings me to the question of how would you describe your music or your sound? Like how do you describe what you do, music wise?
Good question.
Yeah, really good question.
Yeah.
I like to consider myself just, if I were just give it one word, just smooth.
Okay.
Smooth.
That's what
it.
I thought.
That's a good word.
Yeah, it is a good
Isn't
word
it?
for him. Absolutely.
Because I try not to be too abrasive, too bright, too edgy. I also don't want to be too much traditional.
Yeah.
So just smooth. This is just kind of like been my
There's
MO.
a softness to it. It's really typically when you say smooth, it's what I would call smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With range.
Yeah, it has
Okay.
some. It has and not that smooth jazz doesn't have any depth or it doesn't have much substance technically. It does, but in some cases,
Yeah.
in some cases it does not. But you do. Yeah.
Thank
So you
you.
bring that added depth to it, and substance, which I think is what everyone loved about it. It's not
thank
just
you.
candy.
Yeah.
It's more than that. Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a background in terms of who I am as a musician and where I've played, where I've come before, and try to just meld that all into just who I am, my identity, my musical thumbprint, if you will, with that sound and overall
your
style.
signature. Yeah, definitely have one.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So can I go? Yeah.
Yes, you can.
So how did you get started in music? Like, what inspired you? I mean, do you come from a musical family or? Yeah.
No.
No.
No musical family.
That's rare. Do you know that's rare?
Yeah.
Most.
Is it rare?
Yeah. Most musicians come from a musical family of some kind.
Yeah.
And I love when they don't, because that shows I don't know, exceptionalism. I mean, not exceptionalism, but an exceptional attribute, in my opinion, because you're going against, really, you're out on your own. You're doing something that is not common to your family has to support you in a new way. Yeah, all of that. So tell me about that.
Yeah, it all started, I'll give you the whole story. It goes back to the 3rd grade. For some weird reason, I don't know why, that's far back,
Yeah, that's great.
We get these permission slips to play, an option to play in the band. And for some reason, I wanted to play saxophone. My parents signed the permission slip. I submitted it. They put me in choir.
They put you in choir?
Yeah.
Saxophone choir.
Yeah.
But then later I found out that I was too young as 3rd graders. We can't play because we're too small, can't hold the instrument.
Yeah,
that might have been a good thing because maybe I would have quit after 1 year.
Yeah, because you need strength in hands and
you
strength in
hold
lungs.
it upright.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was 3rd grade. So I did choir 4th, 3rd and 4th. And then for some reason I picked up the viola in 5th and 6th grade, which is a little bit larger than a violin.
Yeah.
Did that. I hated it. I
You
didn't like
hated
it.
the violin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't really having that much fun with it. It was like,
Wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, the sax was not even in my thought process.
You had forgotten about it?
Forgotten all about it. 7th grade comes. I signed up for orchestra again just to do it, to do another 3rd year viola. They cut the orchestra program. My 2nd elective, band. So I'm there. I see my schedule now. I'm in band. So I go to the band room. I'm like, okay, now what am I going to play? I look up on the wall. There's pictures of Yamaha saxophone, soprano, alto, tenor, baritone. So I look up at the saxophones like, oh, I remember in the 3rd grade I wanted to play the saxophone.
Oh, see? Things are meant to be. Those synchronicities are just so amazing. Yeah.
Well, sometimes when you talk to a musician too, because we've talked to a bunch of them, and we ask a similar type question. How did you get started and such?
Everyone wants to know that.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
But I mean, the range is quite a bit. You're getting, this is the earliest I've heard, because there's some people, I don't know if it was, we were talking about people at Drama or who it was.
Oh, which is a late start.
It's a late start, if you will.
Early starts,
But they had a whole family history of it and stuff. So it's pretty interesting how
everyone's
so
a different path.
This is why it's a good question.
It is. And also, it's interesting that everyone's synchronistic experience that brought them to music is always quite magical, but quite different as well. Yeah. So you saw the saxophone, you saw the Yamaha saxophone.
And I said, I want to play that. And I picked up the alto. I almost quit after my first week.
Oh, you were exhausted?
No, I wasn't reading the fingering chart right. Oh. My fingers were in the wrong spot. So I play the honk. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm playing my fingers in the right spot. And I was like so close to quitting. And I go up to the assistant band director and I ask, okay, I'm putting my fingers, I think, in the right spot, but I keep honking and squeaking. And he's like, no, your fingers go here. Just slid them down by 1 key and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That was it.
Oh, wow.
But if I didn't go up, I was really going to quit band and I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I believe it. I believe it. They relate from there on. Can you give me a little bit of, from an artist standpoint, from your perspective, of what it's like to be in this type of environment where you have no idea, you don't know what's going on? I mean,
Yeah,
What can you tell me about it?
I love it personally because it's a whole different element. You know, it's different than playing in a band where you're everything is written and scripted. You know the songs played top to bottom. It's different. It's not a jam session where everyone knows Mustang Sally. You're playing Mustang Sally. You're playing Run That Down, and just go up there and blow and whatever. This really gets the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
And even when I went to that first session in July, when I just was a spectator for that one, I was just sitting there. I even told Chris Beveridge this. I said, you know what? Just sitting there, ideas were churning in my head at the same time. I did not even have a horn in my hand. The ideas and everything was just what
were you thinking, like what you would do?
My interpretation of this and that, and what I would input into the element. And then being on the stage for the first time in December, that was just again same thing. Just let that creative juice flow. That's it. Create an idea. You paint the picture. And then use that as an idea form and go from there.
Yeah. Really probably takes you to the edge of not only your imagination, but your capacity to create along with other people and to be in sync in that way,
Exactly. And that's part of what music is. When people write songs, they're doing the same thing. It's not just, okay, here's your song. Yeah, they're composers, but the composers are doing that.
Right.
Whoever's writing Taylor Swift's material, they're doing the same brainstorm thing as well.
Right. Yeah. The difference being, of course, who am I telling? The guy who knows it. But for the average person, the difference being is that there's not a take one or take two.
That's right.
One take.
So you're on the spot. It's one take.
One take. That's it.
It's just like, man, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And I've said this a few times, but Miles Davis is famous for telling Herbie Hancock the fact that no, you didn't mess up that song, right?
Yeah,
it's up to us to take what you did and move forward with it, and that was then the intended deal. So there are no mistakes, if you will. It's a matter of how you work with them. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly.
And if everyone's synced that way, there are no mistakes, and you can't see them, even though you may know that you didn't mean to, or whatever, you missed something or whatever. No one else is going to know.
That's my golden rule in performing, even in a band. It's like I had to tell some bandmates before. It's like if a mistake happens in a song, go with it. Do not show it. Don't stomp your foot. Don't react. Don't gesture.
Move with it.
They are not going to know what happened.
They are not.
We might, but we're not going to chastise each other and beat each other up and down for a long note.
That's good.
It's just about just go with the flow.
Absolutely.
So if a singer drops a beat, in a song, the whole band has to go with that and correct that. So no matter what the situation.
And or someone goes the opposite way in a way that makes room for it. I love that about just the whole improvisational.
And people probably don't even notice it. It's kind of like improv at that point, but it's by auto-correcting.
Yes.
But it's that nobody out in front notices.
Absolutely. And it's really just a beautiful analogy for life as well. To just go with it.